Good afternoon, Remax Associate Agents. Hey, Rob Oakey here with this week's Broker Minute. Hey, I wanted to talk about a subject that comes up kind of often, and that is whether or not it is necessary to cancel a contract when, let's say, one of the parties defaults. And there could be a couple of different reasons. Let's say that a buyer fails to deposit earnest money in time, and so is it necessary for a seller to actually cancel that contract? Or did the contract just automatically die on its own and it's no longer, not necessary for a seller to cancel? Or another situation may be, let's say that the buyer goes through finance and appraisal, due diligence deadline, and now are approaching the settlement deadline, and the buyer does not show up to the closing and just decides that he's done. He's not moving forward. Is it necessary for the seller to, at that time, cancel the contract, even though the settlement deadline has passed? And the answer to that question is yes. There is still a contract that is in play. And in order to make sure that the terms of the contracts are played out, the seller needs to decide what they want to do. So some contracts may say that there is a provision in it that if something isn't done, then it automatically cancels. Well, our contract does not say that. The contract is in place, and what it says is if there is a situation where there might be a default of the contract by one of the parties, well, then Section 16 applies, which is the default section of the contract. And that's where the non-defaulting party will be able to choose one of those three options that they would like to undertake if in fact that's what were to happen. So in the case of earnest money not being turned in, the seller would need to provide a seller's notice of cancellation based on buyer's default and then elect which option they choose to pursue. And same thing on the other example. If the buyer didn't close, then the seller would need to issue a seller's notice of cancellation so that they can then cancel the current contract and then pursue whatever damages they'd like and then put the home back on the market. Of course, they want to get any legal advice or legal counsel that they need, but that would be the steps this is in place. So hopefully this answers a couple of questions for you, but if there's anything further about this, please let me know, and hopefully you're going to have a great week. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.